anything, Tim Fuller is not in the Weber State lineup. Israel Barnes, Cody John, Harding, and KJ Cunningham along the perimeter with Michael Kozak. Going with a smaller lineup. Tim Fuller started the last game. I think they're doing that to match up more than anything with the great sophomore Brody Hume.
Radabah, step back jumper and able to convert, and Northern Colorado on the board.
Radabah for a 6'3" guard can go inside, post. He's actually playing point guard for his team this year, and he's made that transition pretty smooth. He's always been a wing player for them. Right now, he's one of the best all-around players in the league.
Kozak, the big man, going to jump it from 3. That's off the mark.
Kozak is more of what's called a stretch 4 than he is a post-up player. You'll see him kind of wandering around the three-point line much more than you will see in the low block, even though he is the biggest Wildcat on the floor.
15 on the shot clock. Radabah works on the free throw jumper, spin around and converts.
And as I said, he is as good in the paint for a 6'3" guy as you will see around the league this year.
Guy who certainly fills up the stat sheet for this Northern Colorado squad. Bears off to an early 4-0 lead. The Wildcats trying to get going offensively. Corner 3 for Cunningham. Bang!
And that's what Jarek Harding does. He draws a crowd when he gets to the paint with it. Everyone is so concerned about stopping him, and very well they should be. He's the leading scorer in the league, but he opens up a lot of opportunities on the guys on the perimeter.
4-3 Northern Colorado lead coming up on 2 minutes into the game. Brody Hume, one of the players we highlighted, and that's the reason why. Hits a deep 3.
He is a tough matchup. They list him as 6'6", John. If he's 6'6", I'm a Harvard Law School graduate because he's much closer to 6'8" than 6'6", and he's got arms from here to Hoboken. It doesn't take much room, as you just saw, for him to get that jump shot off.
Another corner 3 attempt for the Wildcats. That off the mark. Radabah with the rebound. He's a guy that fills up the stat sheet, as we said. Double-digit points, plenty of rebounds and assists, and he hits as well.
And the Bears, just I'm saying that, he's one of the best all-around players in the league. 2 years ago, he set a school record for rebounds in a season at 6'3".
Like you said, a great all-around player. First shot attempt for Jarek Harding's off the mark. Harding suffered the injury bug as of late. Jump ball on the floor.
And how about that at 6'9", 220, Cord Jokic, the sophomore center for Northern Colorado, on the floor, showing a little bit of his background of playing football. He played 2 years of football at London Basketball School, which actually is not in London, it's in Canada.
Offensive foul. So for Weber State, Joe, they're already in a 10-3 deficit. Had a couple miscues offensively. Randy Ray's a veteran at this, but how do you calm your team down and get them into the flow of the game?
Well, one thing that's been really hard for Randy Ray's team is they have been bitten by the injury bug. Every team, every game, they have a new lineup. This is their 10th new lineup of the year, and it's hard to build continuity when you're putting new guys on the floor every game.
Harding trying to work baseline, kick into the corner. John takes the elbow jumper. That's off the mark.
Cody John, I feel like, has become ultra aggressive offensively because they only have 2 double-digit scorers. Harding, who leads the league in scoring, and then Cody John. After that, they don't have anyone even in double figures.
Ball tipped out of bounds. Will stay with Northern Colorado.
We talked about Weber State's overall scoring. Jarek Harding at 19-9, Cody John at 12-9. Cam Davis, their starting small forward, has missed the last few games with a kneecap injury. Then they fall all the way down to 6.9. Tim Fuller, who's not even in the lineup right now. So they have been kind of offensively challenged, so to speak.
Harding picks Hume's pocket. Now tries to go all the way to the hoop. Fouled on the way.
Of course, Coach Jeff Linder wanting a foul as his star Brody Hume getting ready to shoot that three-point shot, and Jarek Harding with ultra quick hands picking that pocket of Brody. I tell you, Jerry Harding, who is on track to become the all-time leading scorer here, John, at Weber State, is as good in the open court as any player I've seen in a long time. Not very big, 6'1", 180, and I think that's what makes him a little bit injury prone. He just drives to the basket with reckless abandon, and he's about an 80% plus career free throw shooter. That's a rare miss for him.
Definitely one of the highlight players in the Big Sky, was the preseason MVP in the league. As we said, he's dealt with the injury bug as of late, but is starting to get back on the mend. Inside, Kozak and Jonkins playing one-on-one. Blocked away by Kozak. Off the rim.
Two misses by Jokic, which you don't see very much. He's a 75% shooter from the field, and Weber State trying to crawl or keep leading Montana and getting off. I think, was it 16-2, John? You said at the break. And remember, one of the keys to the game is for Northern Colorado to get off to a good start. Northern Colorado 0 for 13 here at the D Event Center.
Bears trying to change that under Jeff Linder. Jonah Radaball going to jump it from three, in and out. Wildcats quick back the other way. Harding turns on the burners. Cut off, though.
Kai Edwards now in for the Bears, who leads the league in field goal percentage and a fourth leading rebounder. Been around a long time.
Tipped away. Johnson able to recover. No wonder why this Bears team is so high in the Big Sky standings. They're at the top of the league of both offense and defense.
Well, they're second in the league in three-point field goal percentage and first in three-point baskets made per game. And you look at Weber State's liabilities right now. They are last in the league in defending three-point shots. So you got a little bit of a strength versus weakness there. Look at the quick hands here off of that steal, getting into the handoff. That's Matt Johnson, the kid who only played 9 games last year, John, and has started every game this year.
Radaball drives inside, no foul called. Foul on the floor, though.
Back-to-back fouls on the Weber State second leading scorer, Cody John. That is not going to bode very well for the Wildcats tonight.
Quickly in off the bench is Jordan for Weber State as we take another look at that.
And both of those have been with the body, with these hands straight up. Michael Irving, one of the best referees, not just in the West, but in the nation, right on top of the call.
15 on the shot clock. Radabach got cut off, has to kick outside. Now Johnson going to hook shot it off the glass.
Terrific play by the sophomore, Matt Johnson, 6'2", who, by the way, is also a 46% three-point shooter. The Bears put 4 perimeter guys out there, John, who none of them are shooting less than 33% from the three-point line.
Coming up on 15 to the shot clock for Weber State. Jordan out top, works inside with 10 to go on the shot. Cunningham. Backside pass inside and a nice curl to Harding.
Nice pass by K.J. Cunningham. K.J. Cunningham, who was supposed to play a little bit as a freshman, is coming off back-to-back career highs in minutes played. 32 minutes against Idaho, 33 at NAU in their loss at Flagstaff.
12-6, Northern Colorado with the lead. Radabov one-on-one, drops it off. Fouled as it goes up is Kai Edwards.
And John, watching Northern Colorado's walkthrough today as they worked on their offense, that is exactly where they want to get Jonah Radaball the ball, in kind of that half corner or long low post where he can do exactly that, turn and attack the basket and then feed, pass it off when he gets double teamed. He's had an unbelievable career at Northern Colorado. He entered last game the top 10 in school history in assists, and he came as a walk-on 4 years ago. He's in the top 10 in program history in rebounds, assists, steals, and made threes, and one of the very, very top guys in the league in minutes played. You're not going to see him come off the floor very much.
A veteran-laden team with this UNC program. Weber State quite the opposite this year. Backside reverse, nice move there for Barnes as he lays it up and in. Cuts the deficit to 14-8.
Israel Barnes started almost the entire year last year, started the first 2 games this year, just got off to a bad start and then kind of fell out of the rotation. Lucky for him, with all of these injuries, he's now back in the rotation.
Backside pass to Edwards, who lays it up and in off the glass.
Both those off the dribble penetration. Anytime you let the ball get penetrated to the point, to the paint, you're going to give up a little draw and dish just like that. Someone's got to come help, and when that someone comes, someone else is usually wide open.
Corner for Barnes, hard off the iron. You talked about it, Joe. UNC's one of their keys, trying to maintain that defensive intensity as well as get a hot start, and they've continued to do so.
Well, they've just been solid. They've been solid defensively. They shared the ball. I didn't think that was a great shot by Trent Harris, but Trent Harris is one of those guys who can take not great shots and make them go in.
Bodie Hume with the block. Isolated on the baseline, and the Bears will work back outside. Hume fouled as he goes for the loose ball.
Bodie Hume on that last block set a school record last year as a freshman with 6 blocks in a game against Wyoming. Bodie Hume, very alert defensively, coming from the weak side where all great shot blockers come from, going straight up. And as I said, he's got arms that resemble well ropes. They go from here to there, at least 6'7". He plays, as the old saying goes, he plays much bigger than he is.
Fresh shot clock for Northern Colorado. Radabach going to work out top with 20 on the shot clock. Spins inside. Veteran English comes up short.
Pretty good job defensively. I'm not sure who that was. KJ Cunningham just staying between him and the basket.
Barnes out top. Now he's going to drive inside and lay it up and in off the glass.
Israel Barnes having a nice offensive game to start off with. Again, started the first 2 games of the year, and he has started the last 2, kind of finding his footing again, especially at the offensive end.
14 on the shot clock. Radabach looks for motion. Gets it instead in the terms of a Weber State steal. Barnes hard off the iron.
A nice job by the Bears following a layup. That's an old basketball lesson. Follow every layup, because exactly what you saw may happen. And there is Trent Harris, kind of the hired gun off of the bench. He comes in and he is cocked, loaded, and ready to go. He had 11 made threes last year, which was a school record for the Bears in his first year, a junior college player out of Western Nebraska Community College.
Mid-range jumper for Weber State off the mark, but we got a foul on the floor. The show Hit the Fan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on For the Fans Next app, so be sure to download it today to catch the show that's all about you, the fans.
Tim Fuller now making his first appearance. He has started the last 2 games for the Wildcats. A very talented 6'9", 235-pound freshman, and the Wildcats are playing big now, and that's where Jarek Harding is really, really tough along that baseline, and he is a fabulous finisher at the rim. Coming into this game needing only 198 points to become the all-time leading scorer here at Weber State.
Harris out top, hit his shot. No harm, no foul. Wildcats climb their way back into this. Harding's 3 off the mark. Nice offensive rebound by Kozak. Drive inside and a foul.
Really nice rebound by Kozak, getting out of his area to go run that one down. That's his first stat of the game. In the first 10 minutes, he didn't have a point or a rebound. Now, this is a big lineup for Weber State. They started small, I think, to match up with Hume. Hume is not in, so now I think Weber State goes to a bigger lineup. I think Randy Ray likes this lineup with Kozak at the 4 and Tim Fuller at the 5. but it necessitated tonight to play a smaller lineup to match up defensively.
Austin Galupo will head to the free throw line, shooting 3. He was fouled out on the perimeter. First free throw in and out. The freshman out of Los Angeles.
Galupo's a better shooter than that. He dropped his hand way too quick. He held his follow through there, and that's the reason that one went in, as opposed to the first one where he looked like he was throwing darts. And that one of the freshmen for Randy Ray that was going to get to play a little bit, and his minutes have been increased due to all the injuries that the Wildcats have gone through.
Break, the Wildcats on a mini 4-0 run and back within 5. 14 on the shot clock. Radabah looks for motion. Kicks out to the top of the perimeter, and we've got a foul.
You see a couple of things. Radabah at 6'3" and very athletic. That's about the 3rd time he's driven it to the paint and turns and looks back to a guy kind of filling in behind him. That's a little bit of a Euro philosophy that has been adopted here in the United States over the last few years. But he can complete that pass, again, because of his size. Jarrett Harding would have a hard time completing that because only being 6'1". Radabah very, very court savvy.
10 on the shot clock. Radabah isolated in the corner, double teamed. Has to kick out with 4. Maston drives inside, shovels up a shot, and converts.
Not only was that in a crowd, Maston is left-handed. He finishes that in a crowd with his offhand. The former Mr. Basketball in the state of Colorado in his senior year from Highlands Ranch.
Kozak for 3. Off the mark twice from the corner.
As I said earlier, that's where Kozak kind of gets his bread buttered at 6'8". You don't see him get really any back to the basket catches, especially when he's playing with Fuller in there at the post. But he likes to wander around out there at that 3. He had a double-double in his first 2 conference games and almost had a double-double in their last game, barely missing it. Had 14 points and 8 rebounds. So Kozak has played pretty well.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Fuller with the weak side block. Kick out to Harding. In and out.
The Wildcats and Randy Ray have done something interesting this year. In his first 3 years, Jarrett Harding has been the point guard. The ball is in his hands most of the time. They've actually moved him off the ball, and they're starting K.J. Cunningham, the freshman, who's a pure point guard, which allows Harding to do just this and get to the open court and get open shots a little easier in transition.
Blocking foul on Northern Colorado inside. That'll send Harding to the free throw line. And Joe, the energy for Weber State picking up in the last few moments, led by this guy, Jarrett Harding.
Well, Jarrett Harding, as I said earlier, as good as any kid I've seen in a long time in the open court. He's shooting 83% from the free throw line, which is this year he's closer to a 90% career free throw shooter. Left-handed guard has just had a terrific career here. Going into this game, he was the 4th all-time leading scorer right here at Weber State. 70 points behind the next guy, who just happens to be Damian Lillard, who has made a pretty good name for himself in recent years.
There's been a pretty good run of guards here at Weber State under Randy Ray.
Well, he's chasing the all-time leading scorer, who's Jeremy Singleton, a kid out of Arlington, Texas, who had a terrific career as well here.
Barnes picks the pocket. Nice block off the glass. That's something to say about this UNC squad, Joe. They never quit on a possession.
No, they haven't, and they've been a little loose with the ball here in about the last 5 minutes as I speak. They've gone about 4 straight possessions where they haven't even got a shot off.
Game time set for 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, January 16th. Big Sky Conference basketball on 11 Sports.
And a little bit of a gamble by Randy Ray, putting Cody John back in the game with 2 fouls. Pays off as the first time Cody John catches it, he jumps up and hits a 3-point shot. Cody John coming off a 24-point game, only one off his career high last Saturday in Flagstaff.
Northern Colorado opened the game on a 10-2 run. The Wildcats now back within 3, 21-18. And that defensive energy starting to pick up, Joe.
Jonah Radeball, remember, had 7 of the Bears' first 10 points, has not scored since then. Here's that block there by Michael Kozak. Nice timing by the big junior.
Shot from distance and a foul.
Brody Hume is not afraid to pull the trigger on that, and kind of recognizing he had a very unique mismatch here with Jarek Harding at 6'1", and as I said, Brody Hume is 6'6" as they list him. He looks bigger than that to me, with very long arms. So he just towered from the perimeter over Jarek Harding. Recognizing that, he jumps up and lets a 3 go, and Jarek Harding making the cardinal sin of defensive basketball and fouling a 3-point shooter.
First free throw is off the mark. The second one is good. Some players, Joe, just are built to play well. I mean, it's just how it is. You talk about Brody Hume's height. I mean, some of the exploits he's had as he hits the third free throw there. Scoring 23 points as a freshman against Wyoming. I mean, some of the freshmen of the year, just incredible.
Well, he didn't score double figures in their first game at University of Texas, and he's since then scored double figures 13 straight games, and he has 4 20-point plus games in the first 14 games of the season.
Northern Colorado ups the lead back up to 5, but Weber State strikes right back.
And you'll see that and that in reverse order. Harding to Cody John, and then Cody John to Harding all night. Those 2 guards have both played over 100 games apiece. In fact, 215 games between them, and they just seem to have a sixth sense of where each other are.
Traveling violation there for UNC. Another turnover, and Weber State, Coach Joe Cravens with the chance to tie the game up here.
UNC's 7th turnover for the game. They've had 4 in about the last 6 minutes. And remember, 7 turnovers, that means that's a shot opportunity they don't get. Weber State really with a lot of energy and a lot of quick hands causing those turnovers.
Pass off the mark, and Kozak shot off the mark.
Kozak might have been better off grabbing that ball, coming down, gathering himself, and going up. That was a high difficulty shot.
Radeball, just like that, reestablishes order.
Remember, I said he's in the top 10 in program history in made threes. And you talk about a guy who never gets shook up and is never out of control. It's Brody Radeball.
Jordan tries to work inside of the paint with 15 on the shot clock. Radeball nearly picked the pocket. Backside now to Barnes. Barnes off the mark.
Excuse me, I said Brody. Jonah Radeball.
Harding for 3. Bang!
Bank shot. Tough shot. First he hits a contested 3, and then a hanging, changing direction in the air. Remember, one of the keys for the Bears was guard the guards, and right now Weber State's guards, like I say, are just taking over the game offensively.
Kozak, shot fake. Spins around, jumps it.
Good patience by the 6'8" junior. Kozak started every game as a freshman. Then when Randy Ray wanted to go with the smaller lineup last year, was relegated to come off the bench. Now in the starting lineup every game this year in some position or the other, either the only big or playing the power forward with alongside a big.
Radeball finds nothing but air, and Hume vacuums it up.
It's funny how really good players just have a sense to being around the ball. Brody Hume caught that just at his waist as it ricocheted off the rim and able to lay it up.
17 on the shot clock. Harding rises it with the 3.
Guard the guards. Pretty easy to say, pretty hard to execute.
So for Weber State, they have this big run that they're on right now. Hume outside. He hits a 3, and now we've got daggers back and forth.
And once again, recall the game keys for Weber State. You got to guard the 3-point line. You have got to find that guy. I mean, even when you're on him, if you're small, he can get it away in a crowd, but he has a knack for finding his shot on the perimeter.
Hume tips it away in the paint. All over. Jumps it from 3 again. This time off the front of the iron.
Nice job by Maston, kind of letting off the gas pedal and finding Hume on the perimeter.
Helter-skelter pace. The Wildcats isolate Cody John on the baseline, and he rises for the 4-footer.
Remember, Randy Ray set Cody John after 2 fouls, which most coaches do, and kind of rolled the dice and put him back in. And boy, that gamble has paid off as he has gone on a streak offensively.
Hume hit as he shot, no call. Wildcats back the other way. Harding for 3. That's off the back of the iron.
And that was almost a heat check for Harding. He hit his last 2. I think that one. Sometimes with a player as talented as Harding is, you got to kind of bite your lip a little bit and let him take a shot that's maybe not so good, because obviously he can make it go in.
Battle in the post. Edwards unable to convert. Up back.
My guard down the back of my truck the other day, but how about this, John? The 2 Weber State guards have scored the last 16 points for the Wildcats. Remember, Cody John had to set with two fouls. He didn't have any points when he went out of the game. He scored 7, and Jared Harding 9 since then to combine for 16. As I said, one of the key to the game for the Bears was guard to guard, but I also added that's pretty easy to identify and hard to execute.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. We got a 1-point ball game, Pards. Backside layup, and Kozak with the back. Fast break the other way. Blocked.
Jokic is having an awfully hard time making the ball go in. He's a 75% shooter. He doesn't shoot a lot. 21 of 28 going into this game, and he's missed about 3 or 4 right at the rim. Weber State with a chance to take the lead now after trailing for 18 and a half minutes.
First free throw off the mark for Israel Barnes. 37% shooter at the line. He and Jarek Harding were high school teammates back in Kansas. Tie ball game.
And you got to kind of tip your hat to Randy Ray and his Wildcats after getting down early. No panic. They just kind of hung in there, and they've really gotten it going at the defensive end more than anything else. And the Bears just having an awfully hard time at the offensive end. Now, an offensive foul, which is now their 8th turnover for the half.
Jokic with the offensive foul. 33-33.
8 turnovers for the Bears, and how about this, John? Only 1 for the Wildcats. The Wildcats coming off the game where they did a very good job of handling the ball in a loss, but 17 assists, only 10 turnovers at Flagstaff.
Wildcats keep trying to take the lead. That shot off the mark. Under a minute to play here in the first half in Ogden. Johnson tries to work the baseline with 17 on the shot. Kick out, Radabah in and out.
And remember how hot the Bears were to start the game. And I don't know whether they have gone cold or Weber State's defense has gotten better, but they're having a hard time making the ball go in now.
Back and forth first half is what we've seen. Kick out, 3 off the mark.
KJ Cunningham, who's actually a very good three-point shooter. 50%. He didn't shoot many. He had a wide open look there. Nice draw and kick by Jarek Harding. But as you see, Jarek Harding is not near as effective offensively going to his right as he is going to his left. That time he made the appropriate play on the pass, but he's not a good finisher going to his right.
Radabah off the mark, but a foul call down low with 3.3 seconds left.
And I think that was on Jarek Harding, which will be his 2nd foul as well. So a little bit of concern for the Wildcats in that both their guards, Harding and John, both have 2 fouls. And Harding did definitely foul. He pushed him with both hands. Pretty hard to get away with that. You know, it's one thing if you body a guy. It's the other thing if you take both hands and push him. That's pretty easy to detect.
Definitely hard to undersell as the first free throw up and in for Jokic.
I like that. Hard to undersell. That's very well stated. I like that. I would have said it's hard to get away with, but see, you're much more articulate than your partner.
Coming across midcourt, Cunningham going to put it up, hard off the back of the iron. But we had a great first half of basketball.
There, Weber State, that is, needed to rebound. They are being out-rebounded 23-16.
We'll see who sets the tempo early here in the second half. The second half play underway. UNC controls, and Radabah driving into the paint, off the mark with the first shot.
I'll tell you, a pretty big issue for the Bears is they're two big guys who shoot 72 and 75%. Kai Edwards, the leading field goal shooter in the league, are 1 of 7 between the two of them, and all of them have been within about 2 or 3 feet from the basket.
Both teams missed the mark on their first possessions in the second half.
Weber State, with only 2 turnovers the first half, turns it over in their first possession.
Shot from distance, well off the mark. Fast break ahead to Cody John. John off the glass, lays it up and into the Wildcats with the lead.
You know, a couple weeks ago I made the statement, Cody John has had 2 back surgeries, and then I thought that had taken some of his athleticism away. I'm going to retract that statement. He is a big, strong athlete, and he is fearless driving to the basket.
12 on the shot clock for Northern Colorado. Radabah resets the offense. Maston, 2-person game with Edwards, and gets the layup.
What a terrific pass by Sam Maston. Once again showing great skill with his offhand. He had a great finish with his right-handed, left-handed player. That was a terrific 2-man game, and a pass by Maston with his offhand.
Shuffle around over to Cody John with 10 on the shot. Trying to get motion out on the perimeter. Now a corner for John with 2. Bang!
Oh, what a shot. A terrific half-court possession of defense by the Bears. Cody John taking a contested 3 as the shot clock goes off to give the Wildcats their first lead of the game, 38-36.
Radabah drives inside and lays it up and in. Tie ball game at 38-all.
Radabah with 14 now. He and Jarek Harding were the leading scorers of the game with 12 apiece in the first half.
John dribbles it off his foot. No problem, picked up by Israel Barnes. Wildcats consistently, though, have been forced deep into the shot clock. And they're just fine with that as Kozak throws it down.
And you see both teams playing their bigs on the perimeter and running ball screens, rolling to the basket. You just don't see many big guys in the low post anymore, John. I mean, the game has changed so dramatically.
Edwards isolated down low. Kozak playing really good post defense. We talked about him as a stretch four, but he's done his job at the paint.
No, he has. He's a very versatile defender in that he can guard guys out on the perimeter and in the post. And now the Wildcats turning the table from the three-point line on the Bears.
Barnes hits the 3. It's up to a 5-point lead for Weber State. Radabah sets and hits.
Where everyone on the court in the building excited except Jonah Radabah. He never changes expression. He never seems like he's out of control. He never seems like he's in a hurry. He just plays.
2-point lead for the Wildcats. Barnes going to set from outside. That's off the mark.
We have praised Jonah Radabah about his offense several times here in this game. We failed to mention he's the 2-time defensive player of the year in the Big Sky.
Outstanding overall player. Pace has definitely picked up here in the last few minutes. Cunningham for 3. That's off the mark.
And Cunningham, the leading three-point shooter for this Wildcat team, has found himself open. 1 for 3 in the first half. Now 1 for 4 from the three-point line.
12 on the shot clock. Radabov fronted by Cody John. Screen outside. Maston trying to play the two-person game again and able to lay up again with that offhand, Joe.
How about a great pass from the 6'9" Kai Edwards? A paint-to-paint pass, which is very difficult for a guard to complete, let alone a big guy to the guard. That was pretty handy passing there.
Tied at 43. Tipped out of play, and it's a turnover for Weber State, and we have got a dandy Thursday night. Can have a lot of energy from both of these teams, Joe.
Oh, both teams have come out again with a very high level of energy at both ends of the court.
Cunningham kicks out to Kozak, who thought about stopping and popping. Instead, Harding going to jump for three.
Harding really has the ability to create his own shot. A left-handed player, a great step back to his right.
Radabov, that's hard off the front of the iron.
Both Harding and Radabov going a little cool here to start the half.
Backside layup, and the Wildcats reclaim the lead on a nice lay-in by K.J. Cunningham.
K.J. Cunningham was one of those freshmen we talked about was going to play sparingly as a freshman until the injuries. He has started the last 6 games, played 32 and 33 minutes in the last 2, and you can just watch his confidence and being how comfortable he is grow.
Tipped away, Sam Maston jumps it from 3.
Good look by Maston.
Harding trying to go to the hoop as hard as he can. Hume tips the ball out of play.
Sam Maston with 4 first half points. Had a pretty good look at it there for the Bears. The Bears have not shot it in from 3. Here's Harding. And caught on the reach in.
We mentioned Hume's lengths a bunch of different times, and even the ability on that play to be able to poke the ball out of bounds, stop Harding when he's got a full head of steam. Testament to how beneficial that length is.
Well, he is a very, very good athlete. Obviously, he's a very good shooter, very good basketball player. But he's a kid that could probably excel at about any sport that he wanted to try with his length and hand-eye coordination.
Cody John working against Hume.
Speaking of that, that was terrific individual defense for a forward against Cody John. Cody John could not shake Bodie Hume on that one-on-one move. Terrific, terrific defense, lateral movement as we talked about his athleticism.
Hume and Radabov playing out top. Backside block. Inside, Kozak got the block, but he stepped out of bounds. But again, Michael Kozak anchoring the paint defense for the Wildcats.
Well, he's done a great job. And I tell you where else they've done a great job is Bodie Hume. Here is Kozak on a really, really nice block there against Jokic, the kid, one of the 2 bigs for the Bears who'd had trouble making it go in. I mentioned to start the half that the Bears' 2 bigs are both shooting around 75%, only 1 of 7 in that first half.
Fresh shot clock for Northern Colorado. In and out. Offensive rebound try. Shuffled around, and the Bears able to recover. Radabov's off the mark.
Boy, and as hot as the Bears were to start the game, they have gone stone cold from the 3-point line. And once again, to build on our conversation of Bodie Hume's athleticism, he comes out of nowhere to block that shot.
And hit a 3.
And hit a 3. Freshman of the year last year, the Bears' leading scorer is starting to come alive a little bit.
UNC claims a narrow 1-point lead. 3-pointer.
Well, this has kind of turned into an old-fashioned shootout here in the second half. Each team just coming down and kind of taking shots from 3. But the Bears can't get anything going inside with the 2 bigs who have really had trouble making it go in. And we We knew this was going to be a guard-dominated game with Weber State's 2 great guards and Jonah Radeball, the great guard for the Bears, and it has been just that. Israel Barnes has done a great job until he just hit that last one on Bodie Hume, keeping the ball out of his hands in and around the three-point line. Hume is having trouble getting good looks. Harding now on Hume on that last switch.
Pass inside, tipped away. John able to corral it.
Okay, one thing that the Wildcats have done, they have been very active with their hands tonight.
What a move by Cody John, unable to finish. Hume throws it down.
And Bodie Hume with not much trouble finishing there.
So coming up on the 10-minute mark of the second half. Turnover for Weber State coming out of that timeout.
When Randy Ray had just drawn up a set play there, I know that's not what he wanted, is to turn it over and not even get a shot.
Running layup inside. Nice move there for the Bears, and they up the lead back up to 5.
Roderick McCaw, a junior college player off the bench. Very valuable bench player for the Bears, and another terrific pass by Radeball. Radeball has been kind of a 2-3 player his entire career, and this year he has come out to play the point guard and looks like he's played it his entire career.
5 on the shot clock. Harding inside, able to find something to fall. He is a magician late in shot clocks in the paint.
I tell you, trying to guard Jarek Harding is like trying to nail Jello to a tree. He is all over the place. Matt Johnson did a great job of guarding the first move, the second move, the third move, and Harding just keeps coming at you.
Bears throw inside to Edwards, matched up against Kozak. Kozak again with the post defense. Offensive rebound, though, for UNC, and the Bears able to pick up the foul down low.
And Kai Edwards, who leads the Big Sky Conference in field goal percentage at nearly 75%, just cannot make it go in. And Roderick McCaw kind of doing all the dirty work, doing something.
Eastern. That's Thursday, January 16th. Big Sky Conference basketball on 11 Sports.
John, both teams really struggling from the three-point line here in the second half. Northern Colorado, second in the league in three-point shooting and hitting the most threes per game, only 1 of 6 in this second half. And Weber State not much better, only 2 of 7.
Back up to a 5-point lead for UNC. Coming up on 9 minutes to play here in this game. Kozak working out on the perimeter, gives it off to Harding.
Wow.
Bang!
And I tell you, Jonah Radeball did about as good defensively. I mean, he was on Jarek Harding like Freckles on a redhead on that. Harding stepped back, created space, and just drilled that one. He is terrific.
Radeball, turnaround jumper in the lane is well short. Harding working against Radeball. Lays it up and in. Count it, the foul.
It is so hard to bottle that kid up. If you think you're going to get away with guarding his first move, which Radeball did there, he comes back at you with a second, a third, a fourth move, and when he gets to his left, he is as good a finisher as you'll see in college basketball. What's really unusual, that's his second missed free throw, almost a 90% career free throw shooters. All great scorers are normally good free throw shooters, and he is just that, but he's missed a couple tonight.
Little off the mark. As you said, that three-point shot also off the mark. Corner for Kozak. He thought about jumping. Instead, he's going to dribble into the paint. Backs down, puts a shot up, and shuffles in for a Weber State lead.
And after being down 5, the Wildcats, again, just hang in there, and have now retaken the lead, 54-52.
Radabon trying to work on the baseline. Traveling violation. Well, just like that, Joe, the Weber State Wildcats have fought their way back. They've got a 2-point lead and words to go.
John, I had no idea until I looked at his stats. Michael Kozak has 15 rebounds and 8 points. Remember, I said he started the conference season off with back-to-back double-doubles. Almost had won the last game with 14 points, 8 rebounds. He now has 15 rebounds, which is a new season and career high for him. Excuse me, his career high is 18, so he's knocking on the door there.
Certainly playing the tough guy role inside tonight. Just got his bell rung going down for a loose ball, but able to force a jump ball that keeps the possession with Weber State. 10 on the shot clock, and Harding.
Only Weber State's 6th turnover. They're coming off the game, as I'd mentioned earlier. 17 assists, 10 turnovers, which is very, very acceptable at Northern Arizona, even though they lost the game. 5 lead changes and 4 ties in this game so far.
Three-pointer in and out.
Now 6 for 19 are the Bears from 3. Weber State 7 of 23. So as I said, neither team lighten it up from 3.
Harding shuffles over to Cunningham, who's got 12 on the shot clock. Cunningham going to drive inside. The hook shot off the mark. Radabon dribbles into the paint. Shuffles over, and a nice lay-in there for Kai Edwards.
And just like that, Jonah Radaball, so easy. Just that, he just threaded the needle with that and made it look like he was rolling out of bed. Radaball now 17 points, 5 assists.
Bang! The big fella, Kozak, doing it all over the floor. 57-54 Weber State.
And Kozak now his 3rd double-double in the last 4 games.
Quick back the other way. Michael Kozak, what a night he is having, Joe.
And almost quietly. I had no idea he had 15 rebounds here, and that is his 2nd block. I'm sorry, his 5th block of the game. He's having a terrific game, almost unassumingly.
He couldn't do any more if he sold a couple boxes of popcorn and autographed a few programs on his way out of the building tonight.
He may do that post-game. You're usually the only one signing autographs, so, you know, the paparazzi is always following you around. It's so humbling to work with you in these games.
Well, I appreciate that. It's good to be back with you 2 parts. All right, we're coming up on 5.5 minutes here. We've got a 3-point Weber State lead. 3-pointer nicks the front of the iron. Harding on the baseline, no shot.
Northern Colorado coming off a great weekend, beating both Montana State and Montana, but they got off to a rough start, losing their first road game, their first game of the year at Portland State, where they got down 22 points. So in this young season, they have yet to win a conference road game, and how about this? They are 0 for 13 here at the D Event Center.
Harding for 3. Runs after his own miss. It's going to be a violation, but a nice hustle play there for the Wildcats, and that's what's made the difference. Starting at about the midway point of the first half to now is the amount of hustle the Wildcats have had.
Well, I thought their energy level may have been down a little bit. Northern Colorado came out and kind of ambushed them early on, hit their first 2 3-point shots, got up by 9 points early in the game, but Weber State, again, led by these 2 terrific guards they had, just hung in there, and now holding on to a 3-point lead.
Radabon up over the top of the backboard, out of bounds.
And all of a sudden, Jonah Radaball having a hard time making one go in 7 for 20 for the game, though he has 6 rebounds, 17 points, and 4 assists.
KJ Cunningham trying to get the offense going for Weber State. Kozak thought about shooting. Instead, he drives inside.
I believe that's going to be Northern Colorado's ball. Randy Ray with 4 smallish guards on the court now, along with Michael Kozak, who challenge on or not.
Well, some skills can't be taught.
No, I understand. I'll work with you.
Under 4.5 to play. 3-point lead for the Wildcats. Trying to maintain that defensive intensity. Kai Edwards kick out. Trent Harris has to dribble and pass off.
Terrific defense by the Wildcats so far.
Radabov vacuums up his own miss.
And that was good defense by Kozak there. And he just kind of got out-athleted there by Radabov, who was able to get up as quick as a hiccup and snatch that one and put it back in. I said look for big players to make big plays down the stretch here.
57-56, Weber State with the lead. The Bears searching for their first ever win in the D-Event Center. KJ Cunningham, count it.
And Wildcat fans are going to see that a lot for the next 3 years. That was Judah Jordan, the freshman from Baltimore, to a kick out to KJ Cunningham. And a nice finish by Cunningham. Look where his vision was all the way to that ball went through the rim, up on the rim.
Converts a 3-point play, and the Wildcats lead back up to 4. Randy Ray exhorting his team, get a stop.
And neither team in a bonus. In fact, Weber State with but 1 foul, and Northern Colorado with 3.
It's been a pretty clean but physical game.
It has. Let's give the referees a little credit. It's been a very well-called game.
Scrum on the floor. Bears able to keep it alive. Throw over to Hume. Unable to find the bottom of the net, but the Bears continue to get extra possessions. This time, Trent Harris converts, and we're back to a 1-point game.
And remember my sermon about 90 seconds ago. Only give them 1 shot. Quality possessions defensively. Only limit them to 1 contested shot. And the Bears able to come up with a couple offensive rebounds to cut this lead now back to 1.
Jordan tied up in the free throw line. Throws it over to John. John tries to shuffle inside, working against Hume. Hume.
Terrific hustle by Cody John, but even better individual defense by Bodie Hume. Remember, folks, 6'6", they list him. I say he's at least 6'7" with long arms. Terrific lateral movement there in guarding the 6'3" Cody John. Although Hume looks really winded right now.
Radabov drives inside. Backside to Edwards, who's unable to convert. Kick out top to Hume. That's off the mark.
And the Wildcats just killing themselves by not being able to limit the Bears to 1 shot.
Hume again misses, and Weber State able to give up 3 different chances and survive without giving up a basket.
And remember, I said Hume looked very winded then, and the first thing that goes when you get tired down at the end of the game is that jump shot. Hume missed a couple wide open looks. The 6th leading percentage shooter, 3-point shooter in the league, and first in made threes. Missed a couple wide open looks, and that kid is having a career. 13 points, 17 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 blocks for Michael Kozak.
A stat sheet stuffer is Michael Kozak. We got a quick score back the other way for UNC. 1-point game as we're coming up on a minute to go here in regulation.
And as has happened so many times in this, Kozak and Northern Colorado with their 5 starters in. 2 freshmen on the floor for Weber State.
Under a minute to play. 14 on the shot clock. Kozak with the dribble handoff over to Harding. Harding's hook teardrop unable to fall.
Tough shot for Harding. As good as he is going to his left, that was about an 8-foot running hook shot. It wouldn't have surprised me if that had gone in.
Fans calling for defense inside the D-Event Center. Kozak working against Edwards. In, out, and back in, and the Bears reclaim the lead.
Now watch this offense for the Wildcats. They'll put Harding in the right corner and then bring the ball around to him after a couple by 5, but they have given up a multitude of offensive rebounds here down the stretch.
Under 20 seconds to play. Kozak shuffles over to Harding. Harding going to take the two-pointer from the baseline and hits. Coming up on 10 seconds. UNC calls a timeout. Points to go. Hummel inbound. Gets the ball to Radabov. Cody John will foul. That winds 2.1 seconds off the clock.
And with so many fouls to give, Weber State can do this almost until time runs out. And I had kind of forgotten about this strategy that Randy Ray had. This is a very, very unique and odd ending to this game.
They wind the clock back up to 8.8 seconds as Radabov works it into Edwards. Kozak fouls him on the floor. Down to 7.7.
And they can now do that 3 more times. So if the Bears do get a last shot, there is going to be virtually no time left, or very little time left.
Hummel inbound out to Radabov. Radabov dribbles around. Inside and a layup for Edwards.
Why they didn't foul again, and that may be the game winner.
3.5 seconds. Harding's pocket is stripped, and Northern Colorado picks up its first ever win in